Hello everyone, my name is JaeAIK, and I finally sat down and decided to make the compilation video for the Granblue Versus shorts that I made many months ago. Obviously, I'm more of a Versus player than I am a Granblue Fantasy player, though I am familiar with side games and their many other IPs. So because of that, there were some inaccuracies or things that I've missed while making these series of videos, and the comment section was nice enough to inform me of my mistakes and or little tidbits / fun facts that I'll be including on the side of these videos. I'm not afraid to admit when or where I got things wrong, so if you got any more things that you would like for me to add or things that I still got wrong, feel free to add them down in the comment section down below. Since Versus is kind of set in the storyline of what makes the sky blue, or at least inspired by it, it makes sense that Beelzebub is a playable character, though I would have much preferred having Lucilius for story reasons instead. But because of his ties to the roster and other DLC characters, I get it. He was sealed away by Cagliostro, freed by Belial from his forced slumber, and ultimately fights you, Gran Ergita, for control as the Grand Ruler of the Sky. Does he succeed? Spoilers? No, but he does return as a raid boss on top of the Tower of Babel, which is fitting as biblically the tower was meant to reach the heavens, yet stopped by God, meaning Beelzebub's fight for conquest to attain his godhood as ruler is symbolically not attainable. But as a fighting game character, Beelzebub's conquest as a ruler is apparent. He's oppressive, he's in your face, and he also has incredible control over the battlefield with his plethora of tools. He may not be able to attain godhood in Granblue Fantasy, but his oppression in Versus sure makes me feel it. We all knew that time would eventually come where I would have to talk about the fan favorite, Naraya, and I get it, she's super attractive. But on top of being an attractive character in a sea of attractive characters in Granblue, Narmaya's character is what I think pushes most people over the edge for how much they like her. Naraya is like a doting older sister to the captain and will go through crazy obsessive lengths to keep you safe, and I think this older sister loving dynamic is what I think most people are a fan of. But on a deeper level, Naraya is a very strong swordsman that trains almost obsessively in hopes of one day getting approval from her distant cousin and eternal Ita. And her mastery of the sword is apparent in Granblue Versus, as she has two stances, the Kagura and the Dawnfly stance. By seamlessly swapping between the two stances, you can bring the most out of Naraya, and optimizing damage will come from how well you use the two stances together in conjunction. Therefore, she operates as this high execution character, forcing you to hit the lab and practice, just like how Naraya practices to catch up to her cousin. When it comes to manly characters in fighting games, none do it better than Sorus. Once a weapons dealer, he realizes that the ultimate weapon that a person can own is actually just his body, so he sets out in order to spread the good word of muscle building. While this sounds ridiculous, he's a well-disciplined martial artist, and a well-known one at that too, winning many martial arts tournaments and constantly seeking to break his own limits. But like most men, his folly is women, and taking a look at Rosetta, based, he decides, yeah, I want to join this crew, and joins your skyfaring adventures. In Versus, Sorus first off has no weapon and no range, but despite his shortcomings, Sorus possesses a ton of chip damage and a great unique that allows him to absorb damage that makes his install Macho Ultimatum that much stronger, which is another reason why I think most people will play Sorus. His install, where he rips off his clothes to showcase his rippling muscles, giving a buff to his overall physique, really showcasing the amount of work that he put into making sure his body is as strong as ever. Don't know much about you, but Sorus really do be motivating me to start hitting the gym, but I'll do it after this pizza. If Zui didn't make it into Versus, there would have been riots on the street. Zui is a fairly important character to the lore of Granblue, being the one that keeps the balance or equilibrium of the universe and fights those that threaten it. But that's not just why Zui is popular. Her alt, Summer Zui, did two things for the Granblue RPG. One, you can't play Dark without Zui, and two, side games can't balance Dark, all because of how strong, meta-defining, and game-warping Summer Zui was. So it isn't a surprise that Zui got into Versus, though I'm glad she plays nothing like her Summer version. In Versus, she plays as a pseudo-puppet, pseudo-set play type character that excels in putting a ton of pressure thanks to her dragon filling in the gaps that would otherwise put Zui in a not so favorable position. So keeping an eye on your dragon gauge so you can continue pressuring is her simple game plan. And outside of her dragon, she still showcases her godlike powers by being able to use lightning abilities and even transforming into the Grand Order in her super skybound art, further showcasing why Zui is a force to be reckoned with, not only here in Versus but in the regular game and lore as well. Subscribe for more mini analysis. Belial is the original primal beast and sort of the avatar of darkness, which means, like his journal entry states, he's the absolute worst. While I would hate to meet a person like this in real life, in-game Belial is fucking cool, laid back, vulgar, and does whatever he pleases. Belial really takes the role of a fallen angel and really does become the manifestation of sin. But despite being the absolute worst, Belial's main characteristic is that he's unbelievably horny all the time. a reference to the real Belial in the actual Paradise Lost book being the Ludus demon. But this translates in-game by having Belial be extremely promiscuous and very out there, and overall being very flashy. I mean, just look at his counter, would a not horny man walk like this? Avatar Belial, on the other hand, takes his other traits a step further, making him a bit more ruthless and aggressive. By taking full advantage of his avatar abilities, Avatar Belial is constantly in your face, putting pressure on you. And by successfully manifesting the avatar's power, you, the player, end up thinking, who cares if my abilities cost health when yours is at 0. Cagliostro is known as the godfather of alchemy in the Grand Blue, as she is the creator and founder of the technique. Once a sickly boy at death's door, she researches ways to transfer her soul out of her body and into new ones. This technique would be refined with time, and because of this, she would sort of create a cult following for herself, which would later grow with time as she continues to live longer, which is why she has the Ouroboros snakes, 2 snakes swallowing each other's tails as a symbol for her immortality. Because of this, she has a bit of an ego, as people love to sing her praises in her intellect, beauty, and overall power. And because of her pursuit for the ultimate cuteness, she mainly uses the body of cute, unassuming girls and will oftentimes play the part, even pitching her voice higher. In Versus, you can see both personalities. While she presents herself as an unassuming girl, you soon realize her egotistical nature come through, especially in her super where she creates golden statues of herself, fitting the theme of alchemy, as alchemists in history would try and create gold from nothing. But because of her ego and strength, she butts heads with other strong beings in the sky, but who cares? If I was as strong as her, I don't think I would care either. Yuel is the inheritor of the Fox Flame that's also very gung-ho about reviving the royal family lineage, which is in stark contrast to her childhood friend Societte, who is more reserved and quiet about her past as a recent remnant of the royal family. Yuel by her standalone self is a bit more aloof, a bit more out there, bold and brash, and oftentimes gets distracted on her journey to revive her lineage, but that's exactly what makes her charming. She's in it for the moment. But when it comes to her dynamic with her best friend, she acts as sort of a grounding mechanism for Yuel, even teaching her the dance that could potentially bring back her family lineage. This almost makes them more than best friends, but Cygames will never confirm it. Cowards. But the dance Associate teaches Yuel is kind of the basis of her fighting style alongside the Fox Flame that she wields in battle. There's a fluidness to her motion, like she's dancing. She's light on her feet and quick, both encompassing the aspect of dance and fox, and her best friend even makes an appearance in the Super Skybound art to finish things together. While Yuel didn't originally have a partner like Sociate, I'm glad they added her character in to help bolden Yuel's character. I'll be honest, when they first announced Henri or Uno in Japanese, I was a little bit confused. Out of all the Eternals, they added in Henri? However, I'll be the first to admit that he does bring something unique and fun to the table, being the second spear user while also being part of the Harvan race, and also filling in the role as one of the strongest groups of Grand Blue, the Eternals. Henri, as one of the Eternals, he acts as the voice of reason for the group. While he isn't the strongest, his defense and wisdom in combat is unrivaled, and he earns the title of One, as he's the being that brought the Eternals together in the first place. He has noble ambitions of protecting the world with balance. In Versus, Henri's defense is mediocre, which is a shame as he's the one that boasts the best defense out of the Eternals, but that's because of his great range that have slow startup, forcing your defense to be practiced with patience. Upon finding an opening, it isn't difficult for Henri to find quick and easy conversions off of his specials, and thanks to his range, there are even certain characters that just downright struggle against him. And while I would have preferred Soifon or Eita, I'm just glad we get to witness his mustache in full 3D. Usus is one of those characters that the edgy 13-year-old me can't help but love. The Lone Wolf of Society, a group of beings that fight primal beings. But because of the inner turmoil that starts to happen within the group, Usus is the one that gets thrown under the bus. But thanks to you, the captain, you're able to fight alongside him and bring back some sort of semblance of order to the society with a certain backdealing that Usus does in order to protect you, the captain, and Lyria. In Versus, he uses his trusty shotgun, Flamek, and skills as someone who dwells in the shadows to do quick assassination work of whoever his target is. With the plethora of tools that he has in his electric shots of the gun, mix of many grenades, and efficient knife-wielding skills, Usus is meant to be efficient at winning the neutral and converting that into high damage in the corner. And if that all fails, Usus will disregard his discreetness and bring out the best in Flamek, using all its energy to rain down a large bolt of thunder on the opponent. Hopefully that's strong enough of a bolt of electricity to finish you off. I love Usus and I love his group society. I hope they bring more of his group into Rising. Seeks is part of the Eternals, a group of the strongest beings in their weapon expertise in the Grand Blue universe, and as the lore goes, it's pretty hard to contest this fact. Born into a clan of assassins, Seeks is regarded as the clan's golden child, the prodigy, and therefore he is put into isolation from the rest of the clan in hopes that this would make him a better fighter. But as this clan does in a coming-of-age ceremony, the drug that he takes to unlock his full potential goes dangerously wrong, and he slaughters his entire clan, and that leaves a heavy burden on Seeks. In Versus, because he is the aspect that specializes in the fist weapon, he comes with his claws, and like most fist/claw weapon type characters in fighting games, Seeks is a rushdown character. However, despite being a rushdown character, he is still first and foremost an assassin, making it so that you, the player, will have to maneuver around to get in and then efficiently put pressure on your opponent to kill them. Because of his great mobility, pressure, and mix-up options though, this for the most part shouldn't be a problem, though do be wary of his low range, the curse that many fist-type characters tend to face. I'm glad Seeks made it in, Soifon is hopefully next. Vera is the understudy to Catalina and the Lord Commander of Albion. By becoming the Lord Captain, she is able to come in contact with the Primal Beast, Luminaria, but after the fall of the kingdom, Vera leaves her position as captain to follow Catalina. While she has always shown yandere-like tendencies towards Catalina, her obsession is often played as a long-running joke, even having rivalries with Vern, who gets all of Catalina's affections for simply being cute. But her story takes a unique turn in her Grand Ult, where she assimilates herself with her Primal Beast. It's here where her obsession for Catalina gets tested by her nightmares, only to realize that she's just getting anxious not only for Catalina's safety, but for everyone in the crew, becoming essentially a yandere for the entire crew instead. That of course is a gross oversimplification of her story, but this change in character is what really pushed her to becoming a fan favorite. It's also why in Versus her game plan really revolves around becoming one with Luminaria, her Primal Beast, and getting into the install ASAP for bigger damage numbers. But even outside of her install, she has a ton of tools to pressure the opponent with high-low mix-ups, left-right pressure tools, and a command grab, showing why she even had the title of Albion's Lord Commander.